Hello and welcome back to Survey of Biology, Unit number 11, and Genetic Variability and Diversity. So our second section for Unit 11 here is going to be genetic diversity and how it's increased by meiosis. So this is going to be a real short one because we've talked about this already, so this is going to be much more of a review. And we're just going to look at the three ways that genetic diversity can be increased by the process of meiosis and creating gametes through sexual reproduction. Okay, so the first is, if you remember, is crossing over. So crossing over is when homologous chromosomes will be lined up next to each other, and little bits of information, little bits of the chromosome will actually flip-flop at this site called the chiasmata. So crossing over produces recombinant chromosomes, and it gives new genetic combinations that weren't connected before. So if you look at the bottom right here, in this case here, we can see now the uppercase A is now associated with the lowercase b, c, d, e, and vice versa on the other one. So we've created new chromosomes that can be passed on to the offspring that weren't available before. So this is the first way that meiosis increases genetic diversity in a population, by crossing over and creating new recombinant chromosomes. So again, here's a diagram that shows kind of the same thing. So here we start with the blue being paternal, the red maternal DNA, and we can see the blue has all capital genes, the dominant, and the red has the recessive. And by crossing over, we get a recombinant, and we get a new combination of genes on that chromosome that can be passed on to offspring and increase their genetic diversity. The second way that we can, in meiosis, increases genetic diversity is through independent assortment. And here's where we talked about the different, when the homologous chromosomes line up during metaphase. If the blue is paternal and the red is maternal, they can line up with father on one side, mother on the other side, or they can be flip-flop like we see on the right. So it's completely independent. And if we look at humans, where we have 23 pairs, the example that we see on the board is pretty straightforward, because there's only kind of two possibilities that exist if there's only those two chromosomes. But imagine, instead of having just two pairs, imagine there's 23 pairs like in humans, and the possibilities are almost endless. So here's another example with 3 different chromosomes. So we can see by independent assortment, there are 8 different gametes that could be produced. So this is an incredible way of increasing diversity in populations, humans and otherwise. And the last way of increasing diversity through meiosis is called random fertilization. So the two processes that we just spoke of previously, crossing over and independent assortment, will lead to the production of different gametes, so sperm and egg, sperm in this case, and it's completely random which of these 4 sperm in this example would fertilize an egg to form a zygote. And each, as you can see, each of these 4 sperm, there's big A, big B, big A, little b, big B, and little a, little b. Each one of those carries a different genetic composition, and so by random fertilization, it ensures that diversity is again increased for that. So thanks for bearing with me. I know this was a quick one and it was mostly review, but this is how meiosis can help increase genetic diversity. Thanks.